Within the game Starsector, I like to keep a few mods active within every single one of my campaigns. Nexarellan is one of them. Adding war, diplomacy, and planetary invasions to the main game, which gives a level of late game that the base game doesn't have. Although, the mod is not perfect. One late game issue that often comes up is invading larger systems. The defense forces of these capital planets are often gigantic, gargantuan, and as if they don't want me to be there. Usually this means we have to stock up on tens of thousands of mechs and marines, costing me a fortune, both in money and time. But there is another way. Saturation bombardment lowers the colony size by 1 and greatly reduces the amount of soldiers on that planet. But the real benefits come when the colony size is at its lowest, which clears the entire colony for you to start anew, no armies for you to clear out, and no rebellion forcing you to garrison 500 heavy mechs. Even leaving you with ruins to scavenge free resources from. And the cost? Only a set amount of fuel that diminishes each time you hit the saturation bombardment button. So today, we'll be going on an adventure, where instead of invading planets conventionally, we will use the other option. I've also installed a few mods to add more content to keep things fresh. I'm sure this will in no way cause the balance of the game to be disrupted in any way. Couldn't tell you of anything. First, we have to make a captain. So you here in this gallery of characters will be most likely to commit a war crime. Starting out, although we have the option of immediately bombing a smaller planet, that is a very easy way to get a faction to hate us, which kind of makes it hard to trade. You see, most factions don't actually like saturation bombardment. My working theory is that because of the sheer efficiency of it, they are afraid that it will become so efficient that if everybody starts doing it, it will create an efficiency black hole that would suck us all in. So first, we're gonna have to make some money. Hi, I've returned from getting the milk. Highlights include stealing Lion Guard ships from an active war zone, the inevitable large trade contract that gave me the starting capital to start a colony, and salvaging an Omega Core. That'll really help. Now that I have all the tools to start a colony, I need to find a good spot in the core worlds to clean up in order to start colonizing. Here's the criteria that needs to be met so I don't tank my reputation, which will make it a little bit hard for my colony to flourish. Small. Smaller colonies means less bombings needed, which means less reputation lost. Hated. If they're hated, the penalty will be less severe from the other factions. And lastly, that it's not an orbital station. Also doesn't have a battle station, because although we could have 3 destroyers take on a station, I don't know if I could take on a station, because I am not good at combat. This leaves only a few factions that are extremely hated and extremely small. And from those planets, there are, oh hey, Lodic Path World. Bye, Lodic Path World. Now after bombing Getty, it was time to take the risky path of colonization. It's mostly risky because there's that Tritax special circumstances up there on the map that may eradicate it. Thankfully that didn't happen. Instead, they just asked for a little tribute. Let's consider my options for accepting or declining the tribute. I accept. My growth is capped, my income is lowered slightly, but I don't get blown the fuck up. So at this point in the game, we hit a cycle of fight hostiles, scavenge from outer planets, and improve our colonies. This goes on for 40 hours. Notable-ish parts include buying a bunch of algae hosts from Freytag Corp, which just spawns us supplies from thin air. This will in no way cause the balance of the game to be disrupted in any way. Finding a holosuite dealmaker which will help us when the colony gets really big, and me wanting a fleet upgrade, which means raiding some high-level ships. Seeing as things have been pretty stable and every colony doesn't hate my guts, it's time for another bombing run. Here's a size 3 pirate colony. Here's my size 3 new mining colony. After paying my dues to the iron shell base in the system, everything went wrong. Tritax sent a mercenary squad to disrupt my base, which I couldn't combat, so I had to deal with all my income being disrupted. Then the hegemony decided my colony needed a visit to see if I was using AI cores. And I couldn't defend that. Thankfully, the AI was a real one and let me unplug him while all of this blew over. And then the Luddic Path attacked. Thankfully, Tritac and I saw eye to eye with this issue, with this threat, and took out the squads. Wait, there are 2 more squads. And then I realized why they're sending all these fleets after me. God hates me. It doesn't like my colonies. It doesn't like my suboptimal gameplay. And it doesn't like that I'm save scumming. Which is why it's hitting me with every fleet and every attack. But I want to say, if God is hitting me full force, it's only fair that I get to hit back. Yeah, so between the Tritac and the Luddic attack, I realized that I needed some extra firepower. So I went to the alpha site and did this. Overload functions are fun when it comes to bullying singular ships. That's so unfair on a singular ship. We're just holding it hostage. And although I had an issue dealing with everything the Path were sending at me, causing to retreat after only killing 80% of their fleet, the rest of their fleet had an issue with keeping themselves alive. Safety overrides. Real killer. This not only gave me the confidence to start scavenging remnant-filled systems, but to actively battle them for their sweet AI cores, scoring me a lamp for our capital world, and alpha cores for whatever else the colonies needed. I now have a lot of money, but we still need more fleet power, mostly because I made another colony, and because of that, a lot more factions are less than happy with my idea of colonization. It's time to pick up every OP capital ship I could find. You might call it overpowered, but this is necessary for the next part of the game, because I'm bad at the game. As many players play through Starsector, they'll see 4 parts of the game. Part 1, the hustle, trying to stay above bankruptcy while still getting enough money to scrounge for a good exploration/colonization fleet. Part 2, the Zen state, where you zone out for like 4 hours exploring for colony items and or finding a good planet to colonize. Part 3, the defense, trying to prove to all the other colonies that they are on your domicile and you are invoking your second space amendment. And then, the final part. The Crusades. Now you might be thinking that this is 3 planets against the entire world, but you'd be wrong, because this entire time, I've been buddying up with the 9th Battle Group, an adversary, who everybody hates and equally hates everyone else. So, that means I have an alliance with them. and they can even defend me. So how would this end up for the rest of the galaxy? Badly. And thus, the man who used OP weapons and ships managed to defeat the hegemony. Regular game of Starsector there. That's it. Thanks for 100 subs. I really didn't think I would get this far. I'll try and make more videos. I don't know what their topics are, I just choose what I like to do. But if you like to see me cover random games or summarize random stuff, just subscribe.